Our first speaker today is Lieutenant General Joseph Anderson. He is the Deputy Chief of Staff at Army Headquarters for G-3, 5, and 7. He's the former Commanding General of the 18th Airborne, as well as a former Deputy Commanding General of U.S. Forces in Afghanistan. He is a West Point graduate, and we're very fortunate to have him here, and looking forward to your remarks, sir. Thank you so much. That was underwhelming. Wow, that didn't motivate me very much at all. Well, good to see a lot of familiar faces here, and on behalf of General Milley, he sends his greetings, and I'm his ambassador here to come give you a little bit of reflection on where we think we are in the Army this afternoon. So thanks, Matt, for inviting us to be here with you, and thanks for the intro. Thanks to the Institute for your continued support of our Army and for honoring us at this event. A warm welcome to all of our leaders. I know we have many leaders in here, soldiers, veterans, families, friends, and guests. I hope you have a great afternoon. It's an honor to participate in the forum, and again, as you know, I wanted to give you a pitch, but they said no slides. I wanted to do Q&A. They said no Q&A. So this is like the academy or something. You're very, very rigorous. So your Army today is globally engaged. I think you hear the numbers. They fluctuate 182, 183, but kind of in the 185K range, meeting combatant commanders' requirements, and they continue to grow to all things deterrence and counterterrorism. This demand falls really heavily on the Army. The Army, we meet 48% of combatant command requirements out of the base demand, and we are set to meet this year 70% of the emergent demand. So what do I mean by emergent demand? That's the stuff that goes up you didn't know about when you go into places like Libya, places in the Jordan, places like Syria, and you keep upping the numbers going into Iraq and Afghanistan. And at present, this tempo doesn't allow us to sustain readiness at the levels required to support our major contingency plans. So basically, as soon as we get a brigade certified to go, we end up deploying them. Concurrently, we're facing evolving threats and have deferred modernization investments imposed upon us by restrictive budget constraints. So readiness for ground combat is, I think you've heard our boss say this many times, and will remain the Army's first priority. Readiness is the capability of our forces to conduct a full range of military operations. You'll hear decisive action, you'll hear the term full spectrum, to defeat all enemies regardless of the threats that they pose. It's generated through manning, training, equipping, and developing our leaders. Sustained long-term and predictable funding across these areas of responsibility will allow us to begin rebuilding our readiness and modernizing our equipment. And modernizing has been paying the bill, and installations have been paying the bill for readiness. Growing the Army will further allow the Army to fill gaps in our current formation, so based on what you saw in the NDAA 17, to prevent the development of a hollow force that is incapable of executing decisive action operations. Additional manpower will also enable us to build and develop new formations that will relieve the stress on the force, thereby increasing readiness levels to sufficient levels despite the stress of conducting protracted counterterrorism operations and dealing with recent budget cuts. These readiness improvements are required to continue combating violent extremism, a problem that will persist for the foreseeable future, but we must remain proficient in fighting it, but the past 16 years of doing so caused our conventional capabilities to atrophy. Things like long-range fires, air and missile defense, and armored brigade combat teams, those types of forces lost their place of primacy in our formations in favor of mine-resistant vehicles, electronic warfare, and IED detection systems. As a result, we can no longer act decisively against our adversaries with a level of proficiency and confidence that our Army requires. In the wake of this new reality, regional peer competitors have emerged and seized the opportunity to modernize their forces and exploit our nascent vulnerabilities to gain political and military advantages. For the first time in generations, we are confronted by the prospect of fighting into complex, anti-access, area denial environments against American superior forces. These enemies are equipped to overmatch our capabilities and are trained to engage us in conventional combat. Our challenge is to meet this threat head-on while continuing to slow the spread of violent extremism organizations in a rapidly evolving multipolar world. The dangers of this complex environment signify that the nature of warfare itself is expanding in both scope and scale. It's extending across all domains, bringing high-intensity conflict back to the fore. Effectively countering these threats will require a renewed emphasis on rebuilding decisive action capability and regaining combined arms maneuver proficiency, while achieving greater levels of integration between the active and reserve components. Developing and acquiring interoperable mission command systems, persistent to deliberate attacks, and passive intrusion will likely be key to this effort. Commanders will need to see and have a precise common operating picture and accurate situational awareness. These capabilities will mitigate the increased speed of information on tomorrow's battlefields, which we are all very much concerned about. Looking further into the future, it's evident that continuing developments in new technologies and the projected growth of the world's economies will will soon result in peer competitors that are capable of challenging us on the global stage. With capabilities more akin to science fiction than real-world application, these adversaries are expected to have access to innovative systems like manned, unmanned teams, and sophisticated artificial intelligence by the middle of this century. The result is extremely lethal and fluid battlefields requiring continuous and immediate investments in science and technology and the rapid development of new capabilities, which I think you're going to talk about today, to keep pace ahead of these anticipated threats. Though these signs seem ominous, rest assured that your U.S. Army remains the world's premier fighting force. But these emerging concerns cannot be ignored. The Army must make every effort to develop credible capabilities to deter and, if necessary, defeat a peer military force. We must seamlessly commit the active Army, National Guard, and reserves to accomplish today's demanding missions. Simultaneously, we must maximize home station and combat center training opportunities to achieve the highest levels of readiness for major contingencies. We must work with our communities to ensure that we have access to ample maneuver space, adequate ranges, and modernized facilities. We must be able to project power into contested theaters and across all domains and rapidly transition to offensive operations. We must be able to fight into and outside of sophisticated environments and win. In doing all of this, we must also retain the ability to fight terrorists that we have worked so hard to defeat these past 15, 16 years. Well, that's our message. A complicated world, a demanding world, and one that we're going to have to keep pace with here for years to come. And so if you don't think we're spinning, we're spinning. And we'll keep figuring out every way we can stay ahead of the power curve to make it happen. But again, the demands are no much smaller, I would say, albeit higher than they were when this stuff all began back in 2001. So thanks to all of you for what you've done to help us along the way and continue to do in the future to support our Army. Once again, it's great to be with you, and may God bless all of you, our country, our great nation, our Army, and each and every one of you. Enjoy the rest of this 2-hour battle drill you're going to go through here. Army strong, boom.